Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Some Sort of a Gaming Podcast. I'm guessing that's what we're going to call it from now here on now.
I kind of
like it.
I kind of like it.
I like it.
Yeah.
You like it too? T, how about you? What do you think of that? Some Sort of a Gaming?
I have no issue with it. I'm good with that.
All right. Let's hope that it's not taken. Anyways, so there's quite a bit of news this week, mostly when it's going to be coming from Blizzcon, and we're going to be talking about other things like Ubisoft and all this other stuff that's happening around the interwebs. But first, let's all start off with what people's been doing this week. It doesn't have to be gaming related, but anything interesting that happened this week.
I'll go first. I played Call of Duty at After Party the whole week. It was great. I am a level 36, 37 on multiplayer. My M4A1 is almost maxed out. I am halfway through the campaign. Specs Ops is hard. I'm enjoying it. I tell you, man, I really gotta people been asking me to play Call of Duty since it's been out, and I'm like, you guys, I cannot get burnt out on this game. This game just came out not even a week ago. I'm trying to, stretch my Call of Duty, experience. I'll be burnt out by January and play Black Ops 4. So, but I'm enjoying that. And I also played After Party from night school, finally. It was a good experience. Minor issues, like very minor issues, like a little lag coming from my end. Maybe if I had a smoother console, maybe it would be more smoother. Some glitches, just like the game shut down on me once, but that's okay compared to other games I played this year with their glitches. They didn't have a lot. I love the story. I love how hell looks like in hell. I like the writing. I like the fourth wall dialogue. If you didn't catch it, if you were listening, there'll be some fourth wall breakage in there with the dialogue, and I enjoyed that as well. It also teaches you about sadness, addiction, loneliness, rejection, like really deep life shit, like real life shit. And I'm like, I did not know that was coming from the game at all. And I finished that yesterday, and then I just edited a lot of videos and learning how to edit and making sure that After Party Part 1 matches with After Party Part 2, and how to put them together it's tough, especially when you're doing multiple videos at the same time. I've kind of fucked up a couple of times, and I have to start over with the video cutting and editing, but I kind of like it. So, I'm glad Halloween's over. That's it.
Wait, so you already finished After Party?
Mm-hmm.
How long was it?
Not that long, like 6 hours, 7
Oh, really?
hours.
Oh.
Damn.
Yeah, if you can play. If you pull it all nighter, you can play the whole game.
Well, it's a single or
it was
two-sitting game.
No, it's a single. Like there's replayability, because I was mostly doing choices for Lola, the character in the game, but you can also move your decisions towards Milo. I haven't done that yet. One of the best games I've played all year.
Great.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
I could go next. I really got one day to play video games since the last time we talked, and that was basically the day before Halloween. And I tried to basically throw a little bit of horror into the games that I was playing. So I started off playing. It was a game that I got on the Epic Game Store called Stories Untold, and that essentially, I honestly had no idea what it was, but it was something that was free at some point, because they give away free games every week. But it was basically, what it translated to was kind of a text-based adventure with some like minor graphics like built around a computer screen. So it was basically, sort of basic old school text-based adventure where, it'd say you entered a room and, there's a door towards the bathroom and there's a door towards the living room or whatever. And you say, go towards the living room. You could do look around, use all kinds of stuff. But it was all just kind of set in this one room where you're at a computer and you're just typing away at it. And they had some things that tried to kind of make the mood a little bit more spooky, like the lights would flicker in the room, or the music would, kind of impact things. And it was a cool little experience. I guess the whole game I believe it was like 4 different mini games, but they all seem to be text-based adventures, which is why I finished that first one. I was like, oh, that was kind of fun, kind of creepy. But then as soon as I saw the second one, I was like, I can't do this again. Because I assumed it was going to be the exact same thing where it's just like text-based adventure and all you're doing is just kind of looking at the same screen for, however long it takes you to beat it. But still cool nonetheless for just that one experience. Then I switched over to Layers of Fear, which I believe at some point I've gotten free 4 times. And it just so happened I was looking for something to play on the Epic Store, like Stories Untold, because the library on there keeps growing and I never actually play anything on there. So I went and played Layers of Fear, and that's a game that horror game, obviously, first person, kind of explorative, but still, they try to catch you with some jump scares and some creepy things that are supposed to make you uneasy. But I'm not sure if it was a combination of the fact that I had seen gameplay videos before of the game, basically a full playthrough in some cases, or if it's just the fact that those things seem to translate to just kind of a walking simulator, but it wasn't scary at all for me. And I kind of figured that going into it. I think Lady Infamous, you said you played it. I don't know if you guys played it as well. Did you guys think it was scary if anybody played it?
I played it. It ain't scary like sewer roaches, so nah. But
you say that, but you had a gun to shoot the sewer roaches. At least you could defend yourself.
I'm just saying. Look, okay, the story. They had jump scares galore. I liked the artwork, and it was scary. Usually, before I got a PC, I used to watch a lot of PC guys play PC games. Christopher Odd is one of them, and he played this game. So I was like, I'm going to play this game. So I jumped in. I didn't play the sequel. I know that one.
I heard the sequel's actually not as good anyway, if you like the first game.
No. Nah, man. I wait for it to Gears with Gold or something like that, or Games with Gold or something.
Yeah. So yeah, I played that, and I think I stopped after 45 minutes or so, because I'm just bored. Nothing's happening. And then moved over to play Jackbox again, where I specifically, we played some Trivia Murder Party, which we talked about last week, but then I also decided to try because there's 6 games in the pack, I believe, or 5, one of those 2. And I was like, let me just try another one. And one of the people in the channel wanted to play this game Dictionarium, which that's an interesting game. Basically what would happen is everybody would get prompts and you would have to come up with, if it said, I don't know, let's just pick something random, Mary's Robot or whatever, that's the term. Everybody who got that prompt would have to come up with a definition for it. And then everybody would vote on what the best definition was. And then after, that round finished, I think it went back and you took that word in that definition and you had to make a synonym for it. And then again, everybody voted and, there'd be a winner. And then afterwards, everybody would have to use the created word in a sentence. And again, voting on it, and whoever had the most points at the end wins. It's kind of, I think in a way, it's kind of like a child of Quiplash. It's definitely significantly different, but it's still kind of like that prompt people for something funny and then people vote on it kind of thing. But it was cool, really quick experiences. Each round was maybe 10 minutes or so. So we just blazed through, I think 6 or 7 rounds or something. But other than that, I didn't get to play much. But I was kind of content with it because I at least got a little bit of some horror experiences before Halloween was over. Because I initially wanted to play a bunch for the month, but just didn't get much time to play games. So, what about you, Zeldrick?
Well, my week was fucked.
Yeah.
Could you explain what you
Completely,
did?
yeah.
It doesn't have to be gaming related.
So I live in the area where the California NorCal fires happen. Luckily, I didn't have to evacuate. But most of my town was actually shut off. The PG&E shut down, and luckily, I didn't have my power shut down because I'm on the same grid as a hospital. But I had no internet, so anything that was on my computer or anything that I had was it, and I couldn't stream. So, Dead Space had to wait, and I instead played a bunch of Metal Gear Solid 5, just trying to speed through the rest of what I haven't played, or just the rest of the game. But because one of my friends had to evacuate, and she's never played VR before. Actually, she put on a headset once, and it was just like one of those video experiences or fucking whatever. So we played some Beat Saber, Audica, and I think there was no, that was it. It was just those two at first, and then and she was having a lot of fun with it. So we were just doing a bunch of VR stuff. Besides that, we kind of, I mean, because I didn't have classes either, we kind of just had our own time. We went out and like just explored different food places and everything. So while California was on fire, I kind of had a relaxing time, weirdly enough. But I'm back to streaming now as of like the other day. And that was essentially my week. That was it.
All right, great. And since I'm the last one, I actually started learning more things on Skillshare, like how to become or how to do certain After Effects stuff, and like if I don't have After Effects, like what else I can use, like they said, like Blender or something like that. So I've been learning, essentially, I guess, 3D modeling and like effect making for video production, because I think it's starting to become apparent that I need to learn how to do those things too, if I ever want to get anything going on in my life. So that's what I also started doing. But when it comes to gaming, I was continuing Valkyria Chronicles 4. It's gotten really, really hard. Or it's more like people have been dying in my game way too often. Like this last mission that I played had like maybe like a dozen people die. Sometimes the same person died like 3 or 4 times in a single run. And
did you just restart?
No,
like, because Valkyria Chronicles still does like permadeath, right?
well, it's permadeath if they die, and then the enemy person or an enemy unit touches that person while they're down. You can still rescue them if you touch the downed unit.
But they don't get revived. They're just like at the end of the battle, you still have them.
Well, they're good to go again, like maybe a turn or two later.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
That is if you catch them. Otherwise, if the enemy unit touches them while they're down, then they're gone forever. So, like I said, maybe one unit died like 3 times in a single battle, and I was like, man, I don't know how else I'm supposed to beat this thing other than, try to level up my units. But anyways, so I was doing that, and I also started, because I've been not playing competitive games. I was just playing, these single player experience type games that I didn't want to lose my VODs, so I just started highlighting everything on my Twitch account. and then maybe eventually I'll just move them over to YouTube, or maybe I'll extract it out first and edit the video and then move it over to YouTube, only highlighting the parts that seemed interesting. Or heck, if I ever want to do like video, like a game review, I might consider doing that too, because I have like a button on my cell phone that will set up markers on my VODs, like every time when something happens, or if I have like an opinion about something, or if I'm gonna go AFK, like I just have like a marker set there on my phone where I just push a button and it just set up a marker on my VOD.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm starting to do that. I'm starting to slowly get into, video editing production. But first,
That's cool.
But first, I need to, get understand the processes of it first. So I've been talking to a few people about like what's a good way, or what are the best practices and stuff like that. Other than that, that is it for me this week. Oh yeah, I'm still banned on Final Fantasy 14.
Oh wow, you still on that shit?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I don't know. I'm still. They said like, oh, they're still investigating. Like the last email I got was like 3 days ago, saying like, oh, the investigation it's gonna take some time for it to complete. So I'm like, really?
I mean, that's kind of standard, right?
Yeah, but like over a week though, that's kind of a long time.
You making it seem like you the only one that got.
That's what I was gonna say.
Unnecessary ban. like you special.
I'm sure there's plenty of people that they have to
there's
investigate.
plenty of people like you. There's plenty of people just like you that's getting the same response as you. So you're just gonna have to be patient, man.
Yeah. Well, other than that, I will have to wait. But anyways.
You sound kind of disappointed.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I am, but it's not as bad as I was feeling last week. But anyways, let's get on with the news. BlizzCon happened, and I was actually enjoying it, strangely enough.
Wait, what do you mean?
So, other than the opening, statement, I don't know if any of you guys saw that opening statement. I thought it was kind of weak on their apology, but at least they apologize. But it doesn't change the fact that, the guy's still.
That's kind of what the internet does.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's still.
All they want is an apology.
Yeah, but it doesn't change the fact that he's still banned, and so is the casters. So it's like they never really gotten around to that during the apology. Just as like we'll do better next time. It's like saying no, do better now. That's what I was thinking in my mind while watching it. But at least apology was a start. That's how I was feeling. I don't know about any of you guys.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I all I was gonna say was that thanks for the apology. Like, we'll see what you do when you move on and what you're gonna do. So you can announce all these games all you want, but let's see what happens the next time something happens. Yeah. Like, your apology doesn't really mean anything.
Oh, what are they gonna do next time? Bring LeBron James on stage and have him apologize too?
I think kind of like what I noticed from it is the same thing I noticed from the internet, and that's kind of what I was trying to imply about a minute ago. Is like, there's always something that is the topic of the day, and essentially because things are they're on people's minds for such a short amount of time before something else happens. Literally, all you need to do is apologize. It's not even like you have to mean it. It's not even like you have to change your behavior. If you apologize, something is going to be on everybody's minds the next day where they forget about you. That's why I'm kind of like, I don't know if even the apology on like the internet, like I was just like, I got nothing from it at the opening ceremony.
Yeah. I'm like, you heard something? I mean, an apology.
What the hell was that?
It's the hood.
So I was going to say, somebody drifting around corners. That's the hood for real.
The hood. I would like if they put some actions behind their words. Try to find some solutions with their conflict with China and their people and find alternatives or something like a plan of action, like a program or a group of people, awareness, something other than an apology. Because apology can go out one ear and go out the other.
Exactly.
But if you truly apologize, if you truly made the mistake and you really want to make a change, then them being as a company that got the bread to make resources to educate people about what's going on and not making it seem like it's a bad thing on Blizzard. Them just doing an apology ain't enough for me.
I think like the final word about this is just like, yeah, you can say an apology, but how about you instead take a step back, like roll it backwards, and then handle the situation that's currently on deck.
Yeah, he
do
could have
something
said
different.
like, as of this announcement, Blitzchunk is back online. So is the casters.
Right, they could have done that.
What do y'all think that would have changed though?
That would have changed a lot of people. As like people like I was just scrounging through the internet, and then people were like saying, "Well, he didn't. Well, what about Blitzchung? Like he's still banned. It doesn't change the fact that he's still
I
banned."
know. I guess what I'm saying is like, and this is actually going to be applicable in something I'll bring up later, one of the topics if we talk about it. But essentially, when you say like it would have been nice, I always think about it like, if they said it, I feel like a very vocal minority would be satisfied. But if they didn't, it wouldn't really change that much. The very non-vocal majority probably didn't care that much to begin with.
Mm.
The internet just kind of seems like this place where like everybody has a voice. So theoretically, if people are complaining, it seems like they're yelling like as a crowd. But I think realistically, it ends up playing out like not that many people really care that much. Either way, it's like Blizzard made this mistake, and I guarantee you, people were still going to buy the games.
Yeah,
regardless of if they apologized or not.
Yeah, that's true. But I also think like if they actually rolled back what they of the ban, then like more people, like a lot more people would have been way more okay with of that.
Well, I mean, it's
that
interesting.
speech.
Like when I was reading the article, I think some people, this one article that I read about like the protesters and such, said that there was like at any given point in time like 40 or 50 people outside protesting, which I'm like, that's obviously like a significant crowd, but like in terms of the player base versus the number of protesters out there, that is so few people. And it's kind of like, again, is it just this tiny group of people that are shouting pretty loudly and everybody just kind of projecting their opinions and then just being kind of like, we'll call it internet activists, to where they don't actually do anything and they just like are part of the voice of saying things? Or is it like, I think that's kind of why it leads to what we got, which is basically not really an apology in the sense of saying, I'm sorry, what I did is wrong, and more so like, I'm sorry that you were offended by what I did, which I think is kind of like, people do that all the time and it's such a half apology. It's like, I'm sorry you feel that way. It's like, that's kind of like saying, I don't feel like I did anything wrong, but I'm sorry that you had a reaction to it. Because that basically probably says they won't change their, I imagine they're not really going to change their actions in the future. They'll probably be a little bit more low key about it.
Yeah.
Discreet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Discreet is the word.
Well, I think we all got our opinions about that. So let's move on. Something about their games. I don't know if I'm pretty sure some of us saw all the games that they were talking about. So first up is Diablo 4. What did you guys think? I thought it looked amazing.
You sound like you jizzing over there.
Oh,
Diablo 4.
To me, I think I only have a quick opinion that it actually kind of expands to almost every single game on the list. I feel like Blizzard is amazing at making cinematics that don't really showcase what the game is like.
Yeah.
So I end up like,
you
I
saw
end
the
up just wanting
gameplay.
to see their movie.
Yeah, I mean, you saw the gameplay though.
Oh no, I didn't. I just saw the like cinematic, but I mean, I assume it's kind of similar to the gameplay. I guess I read it was more going back to like more traditional style Diablo, and it's supposed to be more gory, and I guess, but like even so, like what they end up doing just makes me want to see them make a movie. Like I don't know if it ever makes me want to play their games.
Blizzard's always been good with their cinematics team.
Yeah.
Why they can't match it up with the games though?
I mean that type of rendering will require like a massive.
But they got money though.
No,
but it's not.
Right? It's not even that. Like it's your computer or your device.
Nobody will be able to play the game.
Nobody will be able to play the game with that kind of graphics point.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I get it. I haven't played Diablo in a while, a long while. I might dip my toe in Diablo 4, but that's about only it in this whole lineup. Especially, I'm being honest with you because I don't Deepmind StarCraft. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Warcraft.
Well, okay, we'll talk about the other games later. We'll just talk about Diablo for now.
Okay. I'll dip my toe in it. I might dip it.
Yeah. So
it's just something new and different, like a different experience. Like a different gaming experience.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at Diablo 4 gameplay right now, and it's like, I don't know. You tell me what you guys think, but it looks like Diablo except for higher res.
Yeah. So
I saw the Diablo 4 gameplay with no UI, and it just looks pretty.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Exactly.
Yeah, okay, so I saw a bunch of them. Like, they're like, I think on Twitter they had like the entire Mythic stage live streamed. I don't know why that happened, but that whole thing was streamed on, I think, Blizzard's official account. Like, even though you're supposed to have a virtual ticket, but somehow like the entire Mythic stage was like streamed. And there was UI, but it doesn't seem like it was a complete UI because it seemed like the third iteration of League of Legends UI almost, because all the UI elements were at the bottom left hand corner. And this time there's actually like talent trees too, or a talent tree like system for every character.
Wait, wasn't there in 3?
No, 3 was just abilities. You pick and choose abilities.
It looks Diablo don't look so bad. It don't look so bad. It don't. It doesn't.
Yeah, I was kind of.
Is it multiplayer?
Yeah, I was kind of worried because with this whole China thing, like they were gonna bend over for having not having bones on dismemberment and all that, but they didn't do that. Because China, it's a no to have any like bones in media or like dismemberment in media.
I mean, maybe they won't have the game available in China.
Yeah, I mean,
or it's gonna be cut up, in China,
or a selectable toggle that says no gore.
Except for you can't select it. Mm-hmm. Like it'd probably just be off in China and then like selectable in the US or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is on PC, am I right?
No, it's also gonna be on Xbox and PlayStation. And I think the Switch.
It's not gonna be. It's not gonna be cross-plat though. It's not gonna be cross-plat.
Is this another case of?
I don't remember them saying anything if it's not or if it is, but
I don't think it is. I ain't heard nothing about them being cross-plat. So I want to play with friends, but dang, most of the people that want to play this is on PC, and I don't think my PC is gonna run.
Blizzard games, they tend to try to make it run on everything except Overwatch. Like every single game, including WoW, was able to run on like a netbook. Remember that thing?
Yeah, but isn't it gonna probably look like Diablo 3 if you do that?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I mean Blizzard's I don't know about now, but then Blizzard was pretty keen on making their games run on like pretty much anything, including phones.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I don't know why everybody's so opposed to that, but I saw the joke.
Yeah, I mean the only thing that I like complaint that I wish that they're going to be having that I have with this game is the combat doesn't feel like there's enough of a punch to it. Like it just feels like you're just hitting things, right? I don't know if you guys ever saw the trailer or like the gameplay for this game called The Lost Ark.
No,
it's a Korean. It's a Korean game it's like an isometric Diablo-esque action RPG, And if you actually seen that trailer, like you can actually hear and see like a big like every class has like this huge punch to like all their abilities. In Diablo, everything just seems very light, or at least from what I saw. But like, hopefully they'll improve on that because they said that this is not the finished product. So who knows? We'll see what's going to happen with Diablo 4. Next is, well, I guess I'm the only one that can really talk about it. It's Hearthstone. They came up with an auto chess on Hearthstone, which I guess it makes sense. I was thinking that it was going to happen in Heroes of the Storm, but instead they chose Hearthstone instead. And
I don't get why that makes sense for a card game.
Well, I mean, auto chess, how it works, essentially kind of works like a card game. Like, you technically just buy units. It's just like buying cards, and then you just play that unit, which is for them, it's like, it's like a card basically in any auto chess game. And you just place it anywhere in the field that seems, like it should go there. Like in Hearthstone, it's just, be on the left side or the right side of a certain unit. But other than that, like, I have to see how Hearthstone's auto chess is going to work out, because there's already, what is it, like 3 other ones that's already popular, or 2 other ones that's really popular. But I don't really have anything else to say about that.
You're talking about the League of Legends one and what else?
The Dota.
Oh, Dota, yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, it seems weird because, I mean, I don't really know the mechanics of the game. I'm just looking at what the other games were based off of, and it's just like based off of such a different type of game than Hearthstone. So
yeah,
it's kind of curious to see how it'll work out to play, I guess, similar-ish.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a lot simpler because it is a card game and it's just, a solid number instead of it having like, a random crit and stuff like that, like how the other auto chess games do.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And then next would be WoW. And I know you guys don't play WoW, but here's my opinion again. We'll get to Overwatch next. Okay. So we'll do, but first let me say something about WoW. I was like, oh, while I was watching the trailer or watching, the live presentation, they were like saying, oh, they're going back to Icecrown. And I was like, oh, it's Arthas again. And now Sylvanas, and then like, when Sylvanas ripped the crown apart, I was like, or when Sylvanas took the crown away from Arthas, I was like, no way, she's not gonna wear that crown. But instead she tore it in half, and now it's like, so now it just seems like, that character for me just seems like a plot device where they just keep giving her more and more ability to the point where she just seems way too overpowered for the story, which is kind of making me question about where they're taking the Warcraft story. And I'm kind of concerned about that.
That's a pretty common like storytelling device though, when you're like trying to maintain the same recognizable characters though. Like the only way you can usually think about like Dragon Ball Z, like the only way you can bring somebody back is to somehow make them more powerful, and then they keep getting more powerful and more powerful and more powerful. And then I get what you're saying, like it could get repetitive, but I mean, I guess to me, I think games are a little bit unique in the sense that like I feel like people latch on to characters in them, so in further iterations they're like, oh, this guy came back. I think they want that reaction, like, oh, she came back.
Yeah,
I mean, whether
I don't
or not
know.
it
It
works,
just
that's
seems
up
like
to
a
y'all,
very
but
plot devicey move for that specific character, because how she started was like, she was killed by, the person that she took the crown away from, and that's how she became like a banshee queen. And And then her whole story revolved around a revenge by killing, the Lich King, or the current, Lich King. And like, previously that's what she did, but then somehow, they're back, probably through retconning. I haven't really been following the WoW story like that closely the past few expansions, so I can't really say, but I was like, man, she's just keep getting stronger and stronger unnecessarily. But
Is it unnecessarily?
well, that's what it seems like. How they're approaching it, it just seems that way. I mean, it cinematically it looked really cool, but other than that, I just can't. I just don't like that character anymore. She was my favorite Warcraft character, and now she's like my least favorite Warcraft character. Because they keep messing with her story, and then the more they do something with her, the more I don't like her anymore. But that's how I feel about WoW.
I'm gonna quote Lady Infamous and say that sounds like a personal problem.
that is indeed a personal problem of mine.
At least you admit it. At least you admit your personal problems, because that's a big step not everybody can do. I just learned that.
All right, next, Overwatch.
You mean copy and paste?
What did you guys think about the Overwatch reveal?
Copy and paste. I think that those elements that they had for the next title of Overwatch should have been an expansion of the first game. I don't see a real story, like Unsheath said earlier, that they got Blizzard got good cinematics, and they will sell you a game. They're gonna have new hero modes, character missions as well. But I didn't see a story. I just saw a little bit different of what I played before with Overwatch 1, and it's a no for me, dog.
Without seeing any gameplay?
I can't see. I
Did you see gameplay?
Money on the same things all the time.
She said it's a no. And I'm like, without seeing any gameplay?
No, not no gameplay. No gameplay, matter of fact. It was no gameplay.
No, I'm just saying, it's interesting that you would make that call without seeing any gameplay.
I make a lot of dumb calls. I might change my mind later. But as far as what I saw out BlizzCon, it looked the same to me.
Well, I mean, the reason I bring that up is just because, when you think about the first Overwatch, and you think about those little cinematics they did, that absolutely doesn't tell you anything about how the game plays. If you had just seen those, you probably would have no idea how Overwatch works as a game. So to me,
I didn't know what Overwatch was until I actually played the game.
So that's why I'm like, when I see that cinematic, I'm like, oh yeah, that looks like another Overwatch cinematic. But it's like,
if you would have seen the reveal for Overwatch 2, you would see some kind of gameplay of heroes going to hero missions, for example, at locations all over the world, because they
actually showed a lot of that in the opening ceremony.
Yeah, but what I haven't seen, I didn't see the whole opening ceremony. I'm just saying based on what I saw on the trailer and the cinematic junk. They had a map, right? And it was hero missions, character missions, team mission, replayability values through the roof.
That's what Blizzard's very good at, replayability on all their games.
They showed a map. They showed all the special characters Route 66, London, and these were the same locations that you're playing now with the new Overwatch. With this Overwatch that we got right now, they put maps in the second game that is the same as the first game. And I personally think with that much success with Overwatch 2, they should have had something newer, newer maps or a newer storyline or something. It just feels the same to me. And it's something in my juju. I felt about that about Anthem. And I'm going with Overwatch 2. I'm not. It's a no. It's a no.
Okay, maybe I should clear
$60?
something up about that. But before I do, Zeldrick, what did you think?
What?
I actually couldn't care less because but whatever, Blizzard opinions aside, I was having a really shitty time last time I played Overwatch, more than a month ago, and I will flat out say the community is just trash. I hated playing Overwatch by the time I was done with it. So I really don't care. Though, I will say that in regards to an Overwatch 2 or whatever, I hope this game is cheap. Because why the fuck give us an Overwatch 2 when it's just, we just bumped up the graphics, gave you new game mode. Here's a couple of new maps.
Okay.
How about pay us like a $20 for to upgrade your Overwatch to Overwatch 2?
Like an expansion pack?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of what it looks like.
Yeah. So I'm gonna clear a lot of things up for you guys on how they're approaching Overwatch. But before I do, we start I think how Jeff Kaplan handled his presentation. I think he's like the best presenter in all of BlizzCon. Because of how he says okay, this is what's gonna happen, and this is it's gonna come out like this. I know you all have a lot of questions and stuff like that, and he also handles a lot of what do you call it, clapbacks at him really, really well. That's like the impression I got from this opening ceremony presentation. But he's always been pretty good at that, the past several BlizzCon that I've been at, or I've watched too. But first of all, Overwatch 2. Basically, they said that they're redefining how they're going to be doing sequels, right? So basically, everybody that has Overwatch 1, the multiplayer aspect, you will get to play with people with Overwatch 2. All the heroes that's going to be coming out for Overwatch 2 will also be coming out for Overwatch 1, just so it has that consistency. And you get to play with the new maps and everything alongside the people with Overwatch 2. The only thing that Overwatch 2 has that Overwatch doesn't have are the PvE modes, which is like the hero missions or the story missions. Basically, co-op missions.
Can you guys hear me?
And another thing that they're gonna say that they do is that all the progressions that you have unlocked in Overwatch 1 will be transferred to, or will be connected with Overwatch 2. So all the skins that you got and everything will be there alongside Overwatch 1 and 2.
You know what this sounds like to me?
It sounds like bullshit, and I'm
sounds like an expansion pack.
Exactly.
So why are you calling it Overwatch 2?
So remember how last week I was saying why did they need to make an Overwatch 2? They could have just done what Counter-Strike did. Just update everything on their main core game.
But I mean, that's not what they did, though.
I know,
right?
but that's what I'm saying. Why do that? And then I felt like your argument was how would they make money? Yeah. So, and my argument was, I don't see the point of them having a second game.
Oh yeah. But remember, the only thing that I was saying was they'll get money from you if they redo everything. It looks like they didn't redo everything. Yeah. That's why I was like, it sounds like an expansion pack.
Yeah. Also, all the characters, they're gonna have, basically it's also running on a new, well, it's not a new engine. It's more like an updated engine, like how Source does it with Counter-Strike, right? Like basically they just upgrade the engine, and they upgrade the engine version for Counter-Strike, and then there's Counter-Strike just became like a kind of a new game, or a new feel of a game every time when they do like a major update for that. But at the same time, with Overwatch, all they did was update what the engine can actually do, which is like that whole PvE mode and the whole the graphical update. But I felt like they could have just updated the first game in general just by doing that.
Okay, so I have a few friends that play Overwatch still currently. Now, sell them on it. If they don't care about PvE, what are they like? Do they need to do anything to play Overwatch 2?
No.
Do they need
just,
to buy anything?
No, they could just still have Overwatch 1 and they'll still play alongside people with Overwatch 2 on PvP.
Okay, but then why buy Overwatch 2 if like what do they get with Overwatch 2 if they don't care about PvE?
Two things. Well, one of them is PvE, and then the other one is graphical improvements.
There we go. Got it. All right.
And
so it's an expansion pack.
Yeah, and then
they're selling as a new game.
Yeah, and then how Jeff says like, oh, and this will be coming out on PC, PS4, Xbox, and Switch. And then somebody in the audience yelled out, "What about the phone?" And then you know what he says like, and then he did a very good job on like answering that. He's like saying, "I totally didn't hear that." Like the way how he did it was just really, really well done.
Still have no idea why people are so mad at the mobile game thing. No clue, but I get it. Snarky response, I guess.
Yeah. And next, this might actually come in relevance to all the games later on, which is StarCraft. Their Deepmind, how they were working alongside Google to work with under Deepmind. So Deepmind, if you guys don't know what it is an AI company under Google, and they already that thing already mastered how to play Pong, like as if it'll never lose against a human player. It mastered playing chess, and it mastered playing Go, and Go is known as like the most complex board, one-on-one board game on the planet right now. Like there's more ways of putting Go pieces on the board than there's atoms in the known universe. So, what's different about how StarCraft is?
I don't buy that. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. So how
it's like billions of atoms in me.
Yeah.
How could it possibly?
Oh, you have no idea. There's a lot of ways how to play Go. It's because it's on a 19 by 9 grid, which is 361 action spaces. Imagine black and white pieces in different, in all different combinations. Like, there could not be a piece here, but there could be a piece here and all that, right?
Yeah. I don't know. That just sounds very exaggerated, but I don't know the game that well. So.
Well, anyways, so what's different about StarCraft versus these board games is that there's when it comes to information on knowing what's on the board is it's called a perfect knowledge, right? Basically, you know exactly where everything is at. If you look at a chessboard, you know where everything is at. Meaning like you have like a perfect information on, what you should be doing next. StarCraft, or most, I would say all real-time strategy games, is imperfect because there's fog of war. If you guys know what that is, meaning you can't see what what your enemy sees, or like where your enemy units are at.
They had that at Call of Duty,
and that adds another level of complexion. In StarCraft, the amount of spaces that you can assign on a particular map is 10 to the 26th power, meaning there's 26 zeros after the 1. And not only that, they also have to deal like the AI has to try to understand how resources work too, meaning like what units to actually build, what units will what each unit actually does, and how what the kind of armor that the units have, and what kind of attacks that the units have. Is it a ranged unit? Is it a melee unit and all that? So it has to compute all of that. What do you call it? What's that other company? OpenAI has done it with Dota. And one-on-one, the AI happened to win against the world's best player in Dota. But in StarCraft, it's a lot more complex because you're controlling more than one unit.
Okay.
You sound like a real nerd right now. But I understand. It seems like I can tell that you have some kind of passion for the StarCraft.
Well, it's not. No, it's
right?
not about StarCraft. It's about the AI technology and gaming. So this can actually start bleeding over other video games too, because a lot of games, their AI is not very good, right? Would you guys agree?
AI in video games is not good.
Yeah. It's not very good. So what this is trying to demonstrate is like how instead of it being like cheap, like, you know, being able to do like 1,000,000 actions a second, right? Or 1,000,000 actions per minute, it tries to mimic like how a human would actually play at their speed. Therefore,
But how can you do that if it's already if it is considering all the objects at the same time, which we can't do?
yeah, exactly. So they actually demonstrated that. So how basically what they're saying, we've been knowing about this whole Deepmind thing for StarCraft for actually over a few years already, and like now it's starting to come out to the public. Because, you know, it played itself and it played against professionals, you know, multiple times. But how they're actually doing this is that it actually, I think it sees like the entire map like by itself, but can only play within the region of the map on where the computer screen can actually look at. And what they said was a standard StarCraft player, they're able to do almost like a professional player will go up to like maybe 500 to 600 actions per minute. You know, using mouse and keyboard, like every button press and every click is like an action. How OpenAI does it is way less than that. About half of what a human player would actually, you know, press a key and all that. So that's how they're able to determine, like, you know, instead of it doing like 1,000,000 actions per minute, you know, it tries to be fair when it comes to that. When it comes to shooters, I wouldn't know how they would do it without making it look like an aimbot or a wall hack, or maybe a wall hacking. What they wouldn't be able to determine that, because if it's only based off information of what they hear and what they can see. But when it comes to aiming, that's another question. But this is like, you know, a step in the direction for most like gaming, what would you saw it? Like a neural network of AIs coming to gaming, and hell, it's even possibly coming to real life too, with like how AI will start, you know, learning things and tries to be better at certain things.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and this can start bleeding over to like single player games. They might start understanding how, you know, instead of it, you know, like when you play like a lot of single player shooters or something like that, like a lot of the times they start acting like all the AI starts acting ridiculously like stupid, right? Like he was like saying, why was he doing that? Or like, I'm shooting at this guy while he's in cover, but he's not moving, so I'm just gonna exploit that.
So I mean, are you trying to say that it's gonna theoretically play more like human players?
Technically,
is that
yes.
like the over?
Yes.
Okay, so problem to me with that, with a first person shooter, is not a first person shooter, a single player mode in a first person shooter, is that it's not one-on-one, which essentially would mean that if you have yourself playing against a bunch of people who are playing like humans, you're probably not going to win.
Yeah, you're probably not.
You know what I mean?
Because the whole purpose is that they're trying to go.
But I want to win. Why would I want something that's just going to win every time?
I think like with that sort of AI, that would be reserved for a higher difficulty modifier.
Yeah.
But all this makes me think of is I just want in third person shooters, or just shooters at all, for enemies to stop just bum rushing my cover and then just standing right next to me, and I have to get me out of cover, and then everybody just blows me away. I want that to stop happening. And I hope that would actually make it stop happening, because that is the most annoying thing I've ever found in cover-based shooters.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure
the enemies bum rush you.
Yeah.
What was that?
You said the enemies bum rush you, or like who bum rushes?
Yeah, like enemy AIs in cover-based shooters. I always run into a problem where it's like two guys. They just start walking forward when like to my cover, and they just start shooting at me, and it's like I can't go back behind cover, but it's like I have 3 guys shooting at me, and then I have 2 more walking to like just pretty much go around my cover, and it's just like, really, like, come on, this is like really annoying. I don't want this to ever happen. It's not realistic.
That's probably what would happen in real life. They would just like make it so overwhelming that you couldn't move. I mean, they probably wouldn't just walk right at you, because that's just silly. You would get shot.
That's more of what it is. It's like, it's silly that you have an enemy to just be out of cover and then walk towards your cover.
Okay, I get that. Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to get at.
Got you.
Yeah, because when you start playing, when you play like any game, right, even at a high difficulty, that's not based around like taking more damage or you do less damage, right? The ones that actually based on like how smart the enemy gets, like you'll start eventually figuring out how the AI works in those games, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I mean, I think about like fighting games, and competitively, in a lot of cases, that's what happens when you're even playing with human people. Like you figure out their flaws and kind of exploit them. It's kind of what happens in real life too.
I kind of like that aspect, actually. It's like, it's figuring out how the enemy works, and then you use that to your advantage.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of saying. Like, to me, it makes sense for the human player to be doing that, because otherwise it's just kind of like, again, if it feels like I'm playing against a bunch of human players, that I totally assume that I'm going to lose, just because they'll be able to strategize. It's multiple people strategizing against my one strategy. If I can figure out like this is how they actually work, then that's how you actually develop some kind of strategy to overcome that, that strategy that was programmed into the game.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm not saying that I don't want to see more complicated and more like human like AI, because that still is like, I think the whole idea from the beginning was always to emulate how a human player would play. So it is kind of cool that seems like they're taking a significant step towards that.
Yeah, and then another thing, like this is what happened with OpenAI, not DeepMind, but with OpenAI with the Dota community, is that all these top players, right? They were like, when they were playing against this AI, they were like saying, "Oh, why didn't I think of that?" Or "This was never played like that before." Like, so it kind of like opens up strategy and thought processes on how, like additional strategy, or if it's like a fighting game, it's like saying, "Oh, I never thought about it, about doing that instead," like a certain combo, or like I wouldn't know what else I would say about fighting games, because I'm not super deep into that community, but I hope you understand what I'm saying.
No, it just sounded like a bunch of gibberish.
Oh, that's fun.
No, I get it. I think we get it.
Yeah.
So StarCraft now with DeepMind, it's starting to become, I think they allowed people at BlizzCon to actually play against it. And right now it's at the 99.8 percentile on it being like the best player, which is better than most pro players. So it already defeated the pro players. I actually watched a video of it going up against a pro player, and I was like, "Holy shit, this is crazy!" I never thought about like doing, building this unit to go up against that, or doing this, moving it here and all that too.
Yep.
But yeah,
I assume they'd come up with strategies humans didn't think of.
Yeah.
They're probably optimizing way more than humans are.
Yeah, I mean, imagine when it starts to come towards like traditional sports too, like AIs for like traditional sports. But yeah, that is it for BlizzCon from me. If you guys have any additional thoughts for BlizzCon stuff.
Not really. I don't think.
No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good on BlizzCon.
All right, so next one is Death Stranding. It's coming out in less than a week now.
Mm-hmm.
And reviews are already coming out, and so far it seems very, very positive. But it also says like this is not for everybody.
There's some patterns in them scores.
What do you mean?
It's positive. I think it was like an 84 from Metacritic. They got good numbers, but you gotta read those comments on those reviews.
Yeah, I mean IGN gave it a bad review, but like everybody else just gave it a pretty positive review.
Are you gonna play it?
Of course. I mean, I wanted the PC version. Like they announced the PC version, but then that's coming out in like summer next year, and I was
So won't you wait? PC Master
Yeah, I
Race,
know.
that's
I
what
want to,
Yeah.
but I feel like it needs to actually be played sooner than that. The problem is that it's going to be 30 frames per second on PlayStation.
Oh well, you'll be all right. You'll live. You will live. You will be all right. You will make it through those 30 frames.
Well, no, I know I will. It's just that it'll be nicer if it's higher than that. Because when Metal Gear came out for PC, like it was just like, wow, this is such a big difference. But I understand why.
Well,
but technically, like, what do you? I mean, do you think, based on what you did you guys hear anything about from these reviews or anything like that? Like, a lot of them are like not very spoilery. They just talk about like.
I'm a gamer. I don't let social media sites dictate how I want to play the game or what kind of expectations I should have on the game, because I already have the expectation to play this game way before the media are like talking about it. That's one of the reasons I got a PlayStation 4 is to play Death Stranding, because what intrigued me was the trailer, and I heard some good things. I heard it's a mailman simulator. I heard it's gorgeous. I heard that the story is deep, like deep, and but I really haven't got into like deep into the information of Death Stranding, so I know a little bit, but not enough to be like, oh, I've seen this already, or I'm expecting that, So yes, I'll be playing that. Is that Friday?
No, Saturday.
Saturday night.
I believe so. Or Saturday, midnight.
Saturday midnight?
Yeah, so Friday.
No, the game comes out on Friday, so that would be Thursday midnight. So
Wait,
Friday midnight,
or the
0
9th?
hour. It's the 8th.
So okay. So I will be streaming Death Stranding next week Friday, and like everybody's like, they're like, I want to see the face cam. I want the face cam. I'm like, man, they want to know, they want to see the excitement or the boredom that's gonna come off my face. And I love my Xbox, and I got there's people that's just not just dogging the shit out this game, and
really the only
the
bad reviews I actually saw was IGN. Everybody else just seemed to like it that I followed.
Let's not ignore the fact that you got real good Kojima dick riders everywhere in the gaming media industry. So we're not gonna sit here and act like all those scores that they put out are legit, because that is not the case.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, when you think about it, right along the lines of what you're just saying, I totally heard a lot of polarizing reviews about like Metal Gear Solid. I think, which one was the one that you really liked because it had like 2 hour long like movies essentially?
That was
it 4? Sharpie?
Wait, I didn't really like 4 because of the
or at least we bring it up in reference. Yeah. Yeah, but there were a lot of people who loved that game and a lot of people who hated it, and I think it might be like Lady Infamous was saying, kind of dependent on if you're just a fan of Kojima's style.
Yeah. Well,
So there might be some people who are just
so
like,
I didn't
it's
know who
Kojima, so
Kojima
therefore
was.
it's a
I
good
didn't know
score.
who. Look, I did not know who Kojima was. I didn't know he was the dude behind Metal Gear Solid. I didn't know he had the major dick riding fan base when I first, because Death Stranding is like the first.
Okay,
thing
so
that I knew
here's the
Kojima did.
misconception that you're getting, Lady Infamous, about Kojima.
No.
He's not about like, you know, he makes like the best games. It's more like the
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that he makes the best games. You gotta let me. You gotta understand where I'm coming from. I didn't know that Kojima did the Metal Gear Solid series before I found out about Death Stranding. That's until I found out about Death Stranding. That's when I know when Kojima. Who's Kojima? So I'm looking him up. He's like, oh, he's behind Metal Gear Solid. Ooh, that's interesting. He's a very creative, sometimes difficult person to deal with, but he got great ideas for games. Now, I'm not a dick rider. I'm just a newbie into the shit. And I don't want like dick riders padding up the scores. And that's
I think that's kind of what I was saying. I don't think it's necessarily like, I wouldn't call it like
I don't think a lot of a lot of independent.
You can't even say
so
it.
I don't think a lot of independent YouTubers will lose their credibility just by writing Kojima's dick just because he's Kojima, because that's a very bad way of reviewing things. They have standards too, like independent reviewers has to have more bigger standard. No, let me finish. So,
okay, I understand.
So they have bigger standards than like
finish.
companies like IGN and Kotaku and all that, right? Because they're run by companies, and companies that has to rely with ads, while these independent reviewers, like especially on YouTube, their audience is not the ad. It is not based off people who are giving them ad spaces. It's based on people's trust, and they cannot lose people's trust, and they cannot give a good. They shouldn't be giving a game a good review to lose people's trust just because they like Kojima.
Okay, only a few like YouTubers got the advanced copy of Death Stranding. I'm talking about the Metacritic scores. I'm not talking about the YouTubers that genuinely just want to get the game and genuinely have an opinion on it. I don't have a problem with that. I believe that there are some YouTubers out there, and some of my comrades as well, and your gaming friends as well, that will give you a more honest opinion about a game versus a Metacritic score. And that's my thing. Because the hype train is over with. So if that game is trash and I paid $60 for that shit, I'm going to tell you that shit is trash. Now, what I'm hearing is I ain't going to have a weapon till 10 hours in a game. And the game ain't going to be good till like 15, 20 hours in a game. So you telling me I'm spending half the game possibly just walking around. Well, I got to be prepared for that shit. I have to be prepared for that shit.
Well, that's kind of like, that's what I was saying. It might not necessarily be that people are just like dick riding Kojima as much as it just like might be that style. I think a good example was Final Fantasy, was it 13? Which one had lightning?
13.
Yeah. So 13, there were some people that loved that game, even though there were other people who were pissed because
I'm pretty sure the vast majority of people hated that game.
Well, some people loved it.
I'm saying some people
it.
did, like Lady Infamous.
But like along the same lines of what you were saying, though, Lady Infamous is like that game. I don't remember how many hours it was. I swear to God, it was like 20 or 25 hours before you got into open world. It was completely linear all the way until like super far into the game. And then all of a sudden it was like open world Final Fantasy game. And some people, along the lines of what you were just saying about the Kojima game, about Death Stranding, hated that. But it didn't necessarily mean that like
it's a bad game.
Yeah, I think it's just like people have different tastes. So some people are going to like his style, just like some people would have liked that style. And some people are just going to hate it. And some people are going to like...
I'm just excited because it's like, I only played the first Metal Gear.
Yeah. So this is what I heard from a bunch of these reviewers saying, like, expect to try to push through the first few hours of the game. Like if you're like the type that doesn't like that gets bored easily, and then who wants shit to happen right from the get-go. right? If you're that type
I
of
don't need
person,
to
if you're
have shit.
that type of gamer,
Yeah.
then this is not a game for you. Unless you're willing to push through like the first like maybe 2 or 3 hours of the game. If you're willing to do that, then they said you will enjoy this game.
That's not. They can go through that and still not enjoy the game, Sharpie.
Well, that's
I was gonna say I don't know if I would buy that.
Yeah, but you see what I'm saying. I'm not trying to be literal by saying everybody's gonna be like this.
Well, I mean, okay.
I mean, yeah, it sounds like they're just saying you need to make it through a couple of hours. Give it a chance, like after the first couple of hours, for it to start to kind of break open a little bit.
That's fine.
Yeah.
With me, not other people may not want to be into that, and that's fine. But you're not gonna tell me, you're not gonna look at me dumb, stupid because I pre-ordered Death Stranding. And you're looking at me like, oh yeah, she would have got that PlayStation title. I'm like, yes, I'm gonna get it because I'm a gamer first. I'm not like loyal to a brand. I'm about to get everything. You understand me? That means I want to know everything about gaming, every facet of gaming. So if I'll be damned if I don't get Death Stranding, especially because I bought the PlayStation to begin with for it. I'm like, Death Stranding, let's get it. I waited like 3 years. I'm ready.
Did you play any of the Metal Gear Solid games?
I played the first one.
Just
and the third one.
Oh, okay. So you played the good ones, the really good ones.
The really good ones. I got two. I got two on backwards compatible on Xbox. So that was gonna be like my next game. My next
that one's good too.
Game. Yeah, I heard 4 wasn't.
I mean, 4 and 5 was like questionable, but like
I heard 5 was not the best.
Yeah, 5 was not the best. I think 3 was the best one.
Yeah.
Well, there was some issues with the production of Metal Gear Solid 5, so like it's obvious why it was rocky reviews and it wasn't like the usual thing, or people weren't happy with the entirety of Metal Gear Solid 5. So
if you're a Kojima fan, you support his shit, y'all, and that's what I'm saying. You know, or you're a fan of something new and different. This could be trash. This could be the best game you ever played.
But one thing that I think we should all agree on is his storytelling and his movie directing in a video game is very, very well done. If you have to disagree with me, think about Metal Gear Solid 3 and how that was presented.
I'm not talking. That's not what I'm talking about. All I'm saying is, if you're intrigued about any video game, you shouldn't let a website or YouTuber or individual tell you or make you think less or bad about doing something that you want to do with your money with playing these games. I'm not knocking Kojima's style. I'm just saying, you might be right. This game ain't going to be for everyone, but I'm willing to try. And that's what gamers do. They got to try games out in order to see what they like and what they don't like. Not automatically looking at Twitter and be like, "Oh my God, this person said something." Okay,
so how about this? How about this? Fallout 76. Everybody said it was trash. Would you still have bought the game?
You know what? I would have still bought the game to figure it out for myself. And you know what? It's trash. It's collecting digital dust right now. Okay, so we're not gonna get. And if you cut me off one more time, Sharpie, I will literally strangle you. I'm trying to get use your own individual mind on how you want to play these games. If you want to play this game and you got money for it, go ahead. If you can't afford it, wait till it goes on sale. Just don't let another individual determine how you want to play games. That's it.
Okay. Well, anyways, I think that's it for. We should move on from Death Stranding because we've been on this topic for quite some time. Next up, we'll get back to this third topic later. Outlast Devs teases a new poster.
They're announcing a new game. all it's really said that all they really said about it was that it's going to be contained within the Outlast universe, but it's not really an offshoot. Like it's in the universe. So that's it. Like anybody that has liked Outlast 1 and 2, like they're making a new game. So that's the news.
I like the poster. It's interesting.
Is it going to be
Yes,
like
it's
another
like-
Outlast game, or is that what it
They're
seems
trying
like
to
it?
they're trying to move
Yeah.
away. They're trying to move away from that. I believe they're not trying to do it like that. I think it might be in the same universe, but not like, oh, I can defend myself, like run and hide dynamic.
Oh, like the
That is-
feeling of being chased.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see what comes out of that. But I think it's newsworthy since Outlast 1 and 2 did really, really well. And people like
and
it.
I'm probably not going to play it.
I'm gonna watch somebody else play it.
Everybody's gonna watch somebody else play it. I might play it. I might play it.
All right.
If it's not like Outlast,
I guess we'll be watching you play.
it seems like I'm playing games. People gonna watch my games because there's games people do not want to play, but I will play them. There's what they're gonna watch.
Yeah. Anyways, what is your wallet the world's wallet?
No.
It's just kind of like, it kind of was following along the BlizzCon thing of like, I think what I was just kind of noticing in terms of what's going on in gaming and stuff like that is just like, I think we had a discussion before where we kept saying, even whenever we talk about loot boxes, we talk about like the Hong Kong thing, we talk about it, whatever. It's just kind of like, I think I always came to the impression of like, there's always the thing of like vote with your wallet. And I think I was just kind of curious if you guys agreed, where I'm starting to get the impression that my wallet just isn't the world's wallet in the sense that I'll vote with my wallet. And I think everybody else might too. So like most of the stuff that we kind of read about that might be controversial or whatever, where we were talking about, a small group of vocal minorities, like it's just a question of like, do you guys feel like maybe it's an adult thing versus like a younger crowd or whatever, where it's just like maybe everybody's kind of voting with their wallet on things, and that sort of and that just sort of isn't reflective of how we vote with our wallet. And it's just to be a quick answer, because I think it would have been might have been a little bit better to kind of tag along with like BlizzCon and stuff like that, but it's just kind of a generic thought process.
Well, I think my biggest concern is like, especially for the people like that, like sports games, right? Especially, football, like American football. They have EA is the only one that actually has licenses for all the teams. And if somebody wants to play Madden or a football, an NFL game.
Yeah, a game with like licensed players.
They only have that one game to play, and like if they don't like the business practices behind that, they don't have anywhere else to turn to.
They do. Well, they don't, but they do have one place, in the same way that like any company, it's essentially like you don't have to play it, right?
Yeah, but
essentially, I know that like if you could be a big fan or whatever, but if it's kind of like you, for example, when you talk about Blizzard and Activision, where you're like with Heroes, where you're like, I didn't like your practices, so I'm not going to play your game.
Mm-hmm.
Where theoretically, you don't have. It doesn't seem like you said you were looking for more to get back into the competitive scene, and you're still kind of trying to find the game. To me, it's kind of similar, where I'm like, technically at this point, you might feel like you don't have anywhere else to go, but that doesn't necessarily change your stance on whether or not you're going to actually give, Activision Blizzard your money. Yeah, I mean, I guess technically you do. If you could go to League of Legends or whatever other game, you do have other options. Which I guess, even that, who does League of Legends again? That's
Riot.
Blizzard too, right?
That's right.
Oh, that's Riot. Yeah. So technically you have Riot that you could go to, but
Yeah, and
I don't know.
and they just announced a whole bunch of stuff a few weeks ago, so it's like there's that too.
yeah, all that stuff. Yeah.
But
I was curious.
but
Like, I think I've been like
what other
sorta-
football games are out there?
That's what I'm saying. To me, that's just like, okay, well, I guess you just watch the NFL. As much as you might love playing Madden, you just can't do it if it doesn't like hold up your standards. Because I think like a lot of people would vote that way regardless, even if they didn't have on other different arenas in life. They would definitely just go with even though there's no other option, I'm still gonna just stick to my morals. I think I would personally do that, even if I literally if I was like just this massive fan of Gears of War or something, and Microsoft did something crappy, then I probably just like, yeah, I'm not playing. As much as I love the game, I'm just not playing. But I kind of thought it just kind of felt like when I was thinking, I did a lot of thinking because of stuff like our conversation we had last time about like Hong Kong and Activision Blizzard, and whether or not, I think I said last time I don't trust the internet anymore. It just kind of made me feel like maybe I'm just not. Maybe I'm part of that vocal minority that's actually voting with my wallet versus the majority who likes to be outspoken but doesn't vote with their wallet. But that was it. Like, it doesn't have to be necessarily a crazy discussion. Like, again, it would have fit probably a little bit better earlier, but just kind of food for thought.
I think it's not only your voting with your wallet, but it's also like once you vote with your wallet, you're also investing time into it. So even let's say that like you buy the game, like you paid them, but then at that point you are putting in time into it. So with other games, like I think yes, there is voting with your wallet, but then investing your time into that game also invest time into that company.
Yeah.
Which I feel like is I think of it as an invisible currency that you're giving to that company. So
of course, yeah, your time is worth money, definitely.
Yeah. So once that even because say that like for myself, I stopped playing Overwatch and I bought that game day one, and then it's just like I'm not investing my time into Blizzard anymore into that game. So now they have one less person that is like putting hours into their game and into their service. So like it may be just like a number, but still like it is a number that is worth something.
Well, of course, because if you had like a large number of people, then for example, their servers might be light on players, at which point like people stop playing. Like you might not necessarily have an impact alone, but yeah, just you voting with your wallet definitely like has an impact, especially if it ends up being like on a bigger scale.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, that was it.
All right. Next up, The Witcher.
But I was gonna say, yeah, that was definitely me. I was gonna say I did also bring this one up.
The Witcher.
And this is actually, I think,
didn't that game come out like 4 years ago?
Oh, sorry. No, that's the TV show.
Oh.
Yes. So,
The Witcher.
Like the reason I brought it up.
Show. Yeah.
Did I say The Witcher 3? Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I meant to say The Witcher trailer. So I personally have not played the game. I've watched Zeldrick play The Witcher 3. Maybe that's what made me think of it. I feel like Sharpie, you might have played The Witcher in some.
Yeah, I didn't play the whole
one
thing,
iteration of it at least.
I did play, quite a bit of it.
Did you play it at all, Lady Infamous?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
The Witcher. Any of the Witcher games?
Ooh, that's a commitment game I wasn't ready for.
Oh.
I have 3. I'm looking at The Witcher 3 right now on my Xbox One. The Witcher Wild Hunt, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I mainly brought it up because, like I said, I don't personally know that much about the game, but I thought it was interesting because, like, you guys know that, like, I worked in, film and TV and stuff like that. And one of the main reasons I went to film school specifically was because of the fact that I could not find a non-shitty video game based like movie. So I'm kind of curious, as people who have played some of The Witcher, when you look at this, I think it looks good as a show, but I'm curious what you guys think in terms of, does it look good as a show based on content that you've played before in video game form?
The little bit that I played, I think I played like maybe 2 hours. I was engaged. I was down with it, but I realized how big that world was, and I'm like, man, I don't know if I'm ready for this. So I just stopped playing. So I'm gonna tell you, based on the first photos, like the first photos that came out for The Witcher like last year, it was like completely different from what we've seen now with this trailer. I might get Netflix for this. I might get Netflix.
It looks like really good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might, you know me, I don't fuck with Netflix like that, but I cannot not watch this. And I want to see how much of the game translate into film and if it's a good transition. Because, you know, sometimes when it comes to video games, it doesn't translate well to film. Street Fighter, the second Mortal Kombat, the first one was cool. Like, it's a cult classic, but that second one was trash. But it's nice. I like it. Oh my God! I wanted to.
Are you like watching the trailer now or something?
Yeah.
Oh. All right. What about you guys, Sharpie and Zeldrick?
So the thing is that like to keep everything in check. This is like based on or in the timeline
The books,
of
right?
the books.
Yeah.
And maybe possibly the first game.
Okay.
So it's kind of like, you know, like the original book of the first of the writer, and then part of like the first game. Maybe I don't know. I just have only heard of like just that it's based on the books.
I mean, it says it right in the trailer. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, that being said, like I'm watching this trailer and I think it's gonna go really well. And the cinematography is done really well. I guess the only thing I could actually say to nitpick about it on like first glance with this trailer is that Geralt's eyes are not cat eyes. Because I don't know, like every time when I saw Geralt's eyes in Witcher 3, he had cat eyes.
Yeah. You would just get lost
pupils
in them all the time.
Yeah. It was just so dreamy. But like I'm all in on this, and I'm looking at my 120 hours of Witcher 3, and I'm all in on this.
Yeah. What about you, Sharpie?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I was going to say the same thing. It's like The Witcher, the show is not based. You know, it's not a video game TV show. It's a book TV show. But I think we already got past that. But
Sure, but it's still kind of like
no.
you know,
But
still the same
I would say
universe
like
and
I don't think the show
theoretically,
would have existed without the video game. That's what I was going to go next. Like I was going to say like
I honestly had no idea there were books until it said it in this trailer.
Oh really?
So yeah.
What do you call it? When Obama went to Poland, the government actually gave him a gift, and it was the book, The Witcher.
No shit.
That's interesting. Is it a Polish book or something?
It's from the
Yeah.
It's a Polish author.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like that was like the ultimate gift to President Obama.
Nice.
Yeah. So I mean, they carry a lot of pride in this series, like that country. And I say like, although I think like the VFX is kind of, but then again, it's a Netflix show, so I'm not expecting like super high budget. But I'm pretty sure if they're gonna make another season of it, the VFX is just gonna go up astronomically.
Yeah.
Right? Because right now it just seems like like it's up there, but it's not like super high up there, like Game of Thrones level yet. But
Sure.
But it is up there. But I also think like because of how popular this franchise is, I think it's gonna do super well, and I'm interested in watching it. I mean, Netflix. That's gonna be in our queue. Another thing is, but another fun fact is, the author for this book, like he refused to get like like percentage royalties from CD Projekt Red because he didn't think it was gonna do well. And he just wanted like a one-time small pay, and now he's hella pissed that he didn't take it.
Of
Well,
course.
that's his dumb. That's his dumb ass. Then that sounds like a personal problem. Look, I even know that if I'm up to doing a big budget project, I'm not taking the one big check. I'm taking the small check with the 5% royalty.
Yeah, but the thing is, he didn't know that. He said like he'd rather have.
Well, he should have been educated. He should have been educated.
Yeah, no. The thing is that CD Projekt Red wasn't really well known, and you know they wanted to give him royalties, but he refused it, and now he's like,
well, then he just fucked himself up. Then if they gave him an opportunity to get royalties and he chose not to,
I think they were begging him. Like CD Projekt Red was trying to insist on it too.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, because that is definitely. I feel like it's definitely a good deal for like the company usually up front, but it can be like an amazing deal for like, you know, the content creator or whatever on the back end. But you just got to have the foresight to say that potential is there. So, yeah.
Well, anyways, next up, Ubisoft or Ubisoft, whichever way we want to pronounce it, doing cross-platform for all their player versus player games. Now that's very, very interesting. They're taking that path.
I think it's a good move.
Honestly, I'm not surprised at all. Like I always thought that, like, you know, everybody I think was always pretty frustrated about like the fact that we didn't have cross-platform play. I think for the longest time, and I kind of figured as soon as it started becoming acceptable, it was going to snowball. Like I feel like almost like the only reason it didn't exist before was because, you know, Microsoft and Sony and Nintendo didn't want to play ball.
Yeah, and
like I'm sure the developers.
I think the person
didn't care.
that opened the floodgates was Microsoft, right?
Yeah. Yep. I just figured it was going to be floodgates open. Now everybody's oh yeah, we always wanted to do cross-platform play, so why not?
I think Sony was the most resilient one.
They late. They're very late in the game with cross-plat. But I think with Call of Duty, everybody, like all the other companies, were monetizing that to see if would actually be a success. And Call of Duty made $600 million in 3 days. So that's like the biggest Call of Duty launch for that generation. So
is that like official now? It's the biggest one? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the thing about it, other people, Ubisoft, like, we want that paper too. So I would see Rainbow Six going to be cross-plat, and I'm going to be upset because, happy, but upset because it's happy because I can be able to play with people cross-platform. Upset because I double dipped, and then I got it as a gift. So I have it on all my platforms. So, but maybe for Honored, any new PvP titles they're going to have in the future, most likely will have crossplay. If not, they're not going to be making no money. Because cross-plat and mobile games is going to be the next wave. I'm telling you. So.
Wait, so are they trying to bring cross-platform to existing games, or they're just talking about for future?
Existing,
really? Okay.
Dude, that's a lot. I think that's a big engineering job.
That has to be. That's why I would assume they would just do future, but yeah, that has to be a lot of work to like somehow figure out.
I think they're gonna probably I think they're gonna do Rainbow Six Siege first and For Honored. They're gonna try those out.
Do people play For Honor on console?
Man, that game is trash. It's garbage.
I don't think it's trash. I had fun playing. It's just kind of hard. Unless you get addicted to it, it's kind of hard to play it long term.
Oh my god.
You must have just got your ass kicked. It's like, oh, this is trash.
I played it. I didn't like the blocking mechanics with the with the left thumbstick. That shit was bothering me.
Yeah.
That was bothering me.
It was fun to play with like friends, like me, Zeldrick, and Sharpie all played it. At least, I think it was at least the beta or something like that. We all played together, and that was super fun. But
I mean, for me, it was like I was like, I feel like this is this is all the game had to offer. So
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Unless you're really into it, like long term, it's probably not going to hold up. It's just the same thing over and over.
I mean,
again.
it felt
But it's still-
very
it's still kinda
tug
cool.
of war-y. Was that the right game?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
the right game. Yeah,
There was one game mode that was essentially tug of war.
yeah, exactly. But I think this will be. I mean, I guess it probably won't necessarily make them more money. At least if they kind of redo all of these current games in the future, I'm sure it will. Because I know definitely, just in general, there's a lot of instances where I know people where they're like, I'm not gonna play this game because everybody I would play it with is on another console. So, I mean, I'm sure in the future it'll lead to more sales if like you can do the cross-platform play. But I don't know. I'm just looking at like the current titles, like if you're talking about Rainbow Six Siege and For Honor and Brawlhalla, I feel like you already have the people that are going to be playing it. They're already playing it. It'll just maybe
Does
just like
this mean,
bolster the number of online
Like
players.
really old games too, like that multiplayer Splinter Cell game.
No. They
Wait,
say in the article right here,
That's
Rainbow Six
crazy
Siege,
old.
For Honor, Tom Clancy's The Division 2, and Ghost Recon Breakpoint, and Brawlhalla.
yeah,
They're not gonna go back further than this. Like,
How about
they're-
The Crew?
Their main, No.
Okay.
they're gonna focus on the games that are like good for them now,
yeah.
current, and then move forward with it.
Okay. Now that makes a lot of sense. I was like, man, that's a lot of engineering work if it's like, all their old ass games too. But good for them. Hopefully this will keep continuing. Let's see. What is this? Terminator? I don't know anything about this.
Was that you, Zeldrick?
That was me.
Yeah, I figured.
Terminator Resistance. They have preview videos. Immediately when I saw like that they were making a Terminator game, I was like, this, I don't know about it being good. But then I think it was this week they released preview videos, a 10-minute video of like the intro of like the first mission, and then like a 2-minute like trailer for the gameplay.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this before, even like earlier on this podcast, about like movies with games and like trying to make one to the other and vice versa and stuff like that. Now, I mean, show of hands, who likes the Terminator? Like, I mean, as a series, or like that has liked some of the movies.
1 and 2, I think that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Terminator, I feel like the Terminator is kind of weird in the sense that like it's a really cool concept, but just thinking about how does it translate to a game seems a little bit weird. And just in general, I don't know how you would do it effectively, considering all the enemies kind of look the same, unless you have like Arnold Schwarzenegger style T-800 that you have to like get away from this one guy. If you're like trying to deal with Judgment Day. All I can think of is that old arcade shooter with like where you had the actual gun and you were just shooting like the Terminator robots. I'm like, literally every enemy is gonna just look the same.
Well, I mean, for Terminator Resistance, it's in the future. It's in I'm
The
going
one
to
that you
assume
sent
2025.
the link for, that one's in the what is that after? What is it after?
No, it's the future. Like it's 2025. Like in Terminator 1 and 2, or Terminator 1, it's like the T-800 comes back,
Oh, yeah,
goes back
to the
in time to
present.
kill Sarah Connor.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he came from the future
Sure.
of 2025.
Oh, but
So
yeah, that's kind of what
where-
I was thinking of in terms of. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. I was just saying,
Yeah.
like the robot part. If you're in the future where there's the war, how do you make it interesting if it's like theoretically the robots all kind of look the same?
I don't think like that in itself doesn't dumb down the entire gameplay experience.
Okay.
Like the fact that like, you're just shooting at a whole bunch of T-800s. I mean, I would assume that they're not just going to do that and they're going to add in like different types of enemies.
Well, yeah, I saw there was like a little spider robot thing in the video you sent. So it's obviously
Right.
not just the walking robots.
So I feel like that with the premise and the execution of like what to do for a Terminator game, a game that's based off of a movie series and the story of it, like what they have is a good concept, and it's a first-person shooter, like story-based, and that's fine. Like, the point I really actually want to make is that it was the wrong studio to do it, and I'm not like harping on the studio at all. Like, I think that like they're as publishing, Reef Entertainment is doing it. Like, they've published really good games. Their development has been this one, Rambo, and then like something else.
There was a Rambo game.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember
exactly.
that game.
Exactly. So I feel like we're almost there. I think we're almost there where like a game that's based off of a movie is like, we're gonna have a good one. We're going to. And I'm just bummed that for Terminator, for the like Dark Fate coming out, or it's actually out now. Like, I know that they're doing this whole thing, but it's just with Terminator, there's just so many missed opportunities, and like this one opportunity to have a good game, it's almost there. It's like 75% of the way there of like, it could be good.
I saw there was like a little bit of I don't know how much that was supposed to play into the actual gameplay of it, but it seemed like there was like a little bit of like choices you could make that seemed like they might impact things, kind of like Jesus Christ, what's the sci-fi game where you could become a Spectre? Mass Effect.
Okay.
Yeah. But that'd be really cool if somehow the game could change based on those decisions. I thought like the main character was talking to a little boy, and you could either like tell him to man up, or you could like try to be nice to him or whatever when he said he didn't want to go with you. And that'd be cool if it was like that, where it actually impacted what happened in the game. That'd be pretty cool for like a Terminator game.
That would be really cool. And I actually want to make
like
an
moral
amendment.
choice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I know I titled it wrong, like the wrong studio to do it. Like, I don't think it was the wrong studio to do it. I think it's just, it needs more production value and more production time.
I mean, definitely based on those videos, I would say it definitely needs more time and more value, because it just kind of looked boring.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But like, for the premise, like set into the war between humans versus Terminators, and then the type of game that it is, do you agree like those were in the right direction?
I see that. Yeah, it's a really cool universe like to be in, and I'm sure there's like plenty of freaking content to make story from. So yeah, it's definitely like, it definitely seems, I see what you're saying. It's kind of like on the right track, but it kind of seems like they're falling short already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this goes along with Alien Isolation. Like, Alien Isolation, they did it very well, and it was in the right direction. And I feel like, I'm not sure about the production value of it, but like it obviously had enough time and care put into it to be a really, really good game. So, I don't know. I kind of wanted to bring that up.
A game based on a movie, right?
Yeah, that's a game based off of a movie franchise.
So we got at least one.
Yeah, we got one. We got him, boys. So, but yeah, I just think that this should be given a glance at least, to say that like we're almost there. So,
I might want to pitch in a little bit on this. So
yeah, go ahead.
I remember I didn't play or buy it, but Rambo, I just remember it being really bad.
What console would that have been on?
Major platforms.
Was it a PC game?
PC.
Oh, it was. It was on everything. Yeah. Okay.
And
was it Sylvester Stallone Rambo, or was it just like generic Rambo?
Let's just
doesn't really matter.
I don't think it really matters. I think like it had infinite spawn.
Well, I mean, I guess what the reason I was asking was just more so like, was it supposed to be a licensed game, or was it just kind of like, here's a game that just happens to be
I don't
action,
remember. It was
based
quite a
shooting
while
and stuff.
ago that I saw.
Okay.
But anyways, so what I think, do you think Terminator should have been like a boss battle game?
What's an
don't
example of
know.
a boss battle game?
Well, Shadow of the Colossus.
Like that? Is that what you
Yeah,
mean?
kind of like, you're just playing against one other entity.
Where like the only battle is a big monumentous battle.
Like, you against another one, or maybe like a team-based boss battle type of thing, instead of it being like, an actual, guided, map or anything like that.
Okay, so I will say this, and I'm gonna roll with it. Yes, like if it was a game, take Monster Hunter actually. Like if it was a game that was like Monster Hunter, but like it was you and like a couple other of friends, or just by yourself, and you went up against a Terminator. Well, like one walking Terminator. It's like doesn't look all that threatening and
Sure.
put into that type of scope, but I guess that could be something that would work too.
What do you think, Lady Infamous?
Based on the gameplay that I've been watching for the Terminator, it's okay. It looks like it got potential. Will I get it day one? No. Most likely this game will be on Game Pass. Most likely, I'm gonna get it and then I'll play it. Terminator is a good movie, but I don't know how it's gonna like the Terminator series the movie as a unit. I enjoyed those movies. Not the one with Christian Bale in it. Not that one. I don't want them to fuck up the franchise with some games.
Well, I mean, they've already fucked up the franchise with a whole bunch of movies
I'll
first.
say they might be a
I
little bit
like the
behind on that
first
one.
one, the second
So
one,
all the
and
James
the
Cameron
third one.
ones.
That's he did those first three.
The first three? Yeah, I think it's three. I could be wrong.
I don't know, man. It looked like a B-rated game to me, but it's okay. Somebody's gonna mess with it.
I mean, what would you imagine as those like boss battles? Like what? Would be an
Well, I
example?
mean, like they
a
could have
big
made like
ship or something.
Yeah, like a single Terminator having like multiple type of phases with certain abilities and stuff like that.
But you are kind of thinking like Shadow of the Colossus, where there's just like a set of them, and you go through.
Or
there might be some exploration or some kind of traveling or whatever to get to them, but
or if you
more
play,
just like centered around fighting.
Yeah, I mean, if you played like Destiny, like the raid content.
What, like a raid?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, gotcha.
You see? Do you see? And then it's just the boss battle without any of the things in between.
Okay.
Like, do you
I
see
can
what
see
I'm
that.
saying? Like it has like.
But I mean, they still
multiple-
have like, you still have like plenty of like actual. It's not story, but plenty of actual like encounters to deal with before you hit the boss. It's not like in Destiny, it's literally just fight a boss.
Yeah, no.
in the
But
raids.
this is But what I'm saying is like it's like Destiny without the encounters.
You're saying take it out.
Yeah, take it out.
And then just have it be like you fight
Yeah, and then
the big
the
guy.
whole focus is just the boss battle. Like the development time spent is just the boss battles. Therefore, like they can do so much with the boss battle.
I mean, that'd be interesting. I don't know if I've seen that game before. That'd be an interesting approach. I still would be kind of wary of like, at some point, unless you're fighting like those robots, it's like, is it even a Terminator game anymore? If you're like taking out the encounters and you're fighting big robot boss, I don't even know if it's Terminator anymore.
Yeah, I mean, then again, like based on there's this company's history, right? Like, well, I guess most games are starting to feel that way. That that if if it's just like a level with just bad guys with and you're just riling through them. Like if there's
Yeah,
just
it
so
gets
much of
boring.
that, it can get kind of boring, right?
Sure.
So so what I'm saying is like maybe they should just focus on like a boss battle.
Well, I mean, I
Yeah.
think this is kind of why I was saying, I don't know if, like when I think about it from a bigger, like from an overhead perspective, it seems like it's really hard to execute on a Terminator game. Because like, despite the fact that the future part of it is very interesting. I think the most interesting part of it is always like the present, but just the present where you have like a Terminator that got sent back and you're trying to survive. Like, I think that would be an interesting game. I don't know how well it could be executed, but like if you had to somehow survive a Terminator pursuing you in the present, like a just relentlessly pursuing you Terminator. I don't know how long of a game that could last before you're like, all right, this just feels like, Mirror's Edge or something. But
well, I mean, Alien Isolation kind of did it. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you had a xenomorph
Or
chasing you
take
throughout
it like
levels.
Alien Isolation, where it's just like there actually has. It's not just shoot, 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 shoot. You know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah, well, I mean,
I mean, we're just hypothetically speaking of like what they should do at this point.
Sure. Yeah, I was gonna say, I think like Zeldrick said, they kind of screwed up quite a bit with this, with the Terminator movies. So I'm honestly not that surprised that this kind of looks bland, but it would be nice if, people, if they did put a little bit more effort into it and said like, we need this to be bigger and more like badass. Because I bet you could get like a really good Terminator game out of it.
Yeah, I mean,
it's probably possible.
If we're talking movies like this, the one that just came out a few days ago, James Cameron's the one that's screenwriting and producing it, so it might be good.
I mean, that's probably a glowing example of like the production value. When you watch the trailer for that, it's just like explosion, shot, explosion, face blown off, explosion, like. You know what I mean? It looks like it's going to be an exciting movie. Whether or not it's good, that's a whole different story. But I think that's kind of telling, like Zeldrick was saying, that like you look at this video and it's like, it's supposed to be Terminator and it just looks boring. It looks like almost nothing's happening. You're just like a couple pot shots at a little walking thing. Then you meet somebody and you talk to them and like you walk out. It's a couple pot shots at another little walking thing. It's like.
The one thing I want to mention about, like, because I'm going back to production value, is that like when somebody gets shot by like a laser rifle, it just looks like it just sparks like go off of them. There's no blood or anything like that. It's just it's kind of like just this weak puff, and then they fall over. And it's like, all right.
Well, can you guys think of, based on what they have right now, can you guys think of a game where you're like, they should take some cues from this game if they're gonna, like, not necessarily starting from scratch, but take what they have, up the production value, try to like give it more time and more effort. What game do you think they should use as like a just something to look at and be like, I'm inspired by this game based on what we're trying to do?
The first Modern Warfare and the first and World, what was it? World at War? No, the one with another sniper one that happened in World War.
Oh, you're talking about like the ghillie suit type levels?
Like the sniper missions, like from the there was 2 games with the sniper missions. Right?
I think it was 1 and 2, Modern Warfare 1 and 2.
I think the other one was like it's based off of what do you call it, that other movie, that World War II movie. What was it called with Jude Law? Oh, what was that sniper movie with Jude Law? God, hold on, let me look it up. Sniper movie.
I mean, are you?
Enemy at the Gates
Is the question?
Yeah, sorry.
That was a good movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, remember that?
Is the question
remember
more
that
like...
that part where you were fighting against another sniper in Call of Duty?
Yeah.
Yes.
There's like at least one mission in every game that you got.
Yeah, I think that was cool.
Another sniper.
I love that.
Huh.
Like, because it's not like a traditional shooter at that point.
Okay.
In terms of like what games they should take inspiration from, are you talking about like production value or like what it should look like or the level design? What are you talking about?
I'm just saying, like, as a person who kind of knows the content of like Terminator, and you kind of, you might have some kind of idea in your head of like, this is what I should feel when I'm playing a Terminator game. Is there like another game where you're like, I kind of got the feeling I was expecting, kind of similar? It's like, to me, I guess I imagine Terminator is going to be a lot more shooting, explosions, maybe like probably some hiding, maybe kind of along the lines what Sharpie was saying with the sniper missions, because the Terminators are kind of this overwhelming force. But any game where you're like, Yeah, this kind of captured what I would expect from like the vibe of a Terminator game. Similar style of game, maybe.
I would say Wolfenstein.
I could actually see that. That's actually a good call.
I'm not sure why. Like my first thought for the draw inspiration from is Killzone Liberation.
Actually, that's a great
good
call.
Yeah.
That's a great call, dude.
Yeah,
I didn't play
Yeah,
the
all right.
Wolfenstein, the recent Wolfenstein games, so I can't really say.
Wait, which one did you say? Wolfenstein what? You didn't say the most recent one, right, Lady Infamous? I think
she stepped away. So
what was the recent one? Was it like Brotherhood or something like that? Or
no, that was Youngblood. That was the
that's
co-op
the one.
one. But
Yeah.
but as far as for main franchise, Wolfenstein 2, the old Colossus, I think.
Oh, you know what I thought might be good too is Metro.
Oh,
Like the Metro series. Yeah. I feel like that's actually some pretty good examples where you could probably get like, again, the idea isn't to mimic the game exactly, but you could be like, oh yeah, this is like establishing a similar type world. I actually really like freaking Killzone. That's a great example. But yeah, I don't know.
I think that's the
When's-
first.
do you know when
Killzone
this
is,
game's
like,
supposed to be
or
out?
Second Killzone, I didn't really like.
The second Killzone that
I
what?
didn't really like the second Killzone because I felt like I had to do like 10 headshots just to kill one guy.
Yeah, I mean that probably is a Terminator though.
There you go.
Yeah, but they were like humans in that game, right?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
were. Yeah, Hellgast or whatever you call them. How do you guys know when is this game supposed to be out? Is it
December
like
20th.
wait this year?
Oh,
Yeah.
damn.
Oh, ouch, ouch. That doesn't sound great. But yeah, I guess that definitely sounds they might need quite a bit more time.
Yep. No, I'm sorry, December the 10th. That's somebody's
I mean,
birthday.
it's still December. That's like, a little bit
someone's
over a
birthday,
month
yeah.
away. That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Game Pass. Watch.
You know what's
spring? I'm telling you.
So you know what's funny? Like I'm looking at the actual website. It's supposed to be released in Europe this month, in November.
Really?
Jeez.
Yeah.
Wow. Really? I didn't know you were gonna get like that over some release dates. She.
This game does not look like.
Ready. It doesn't look ready.
It doesn't look like it's coming out this month for sure.
How much is it going to be?
$60
$60?
It's probably going to be full
Yeah, it's going to be
price.
free in like a month and a half. Somebody's going to be giving that away super quick.
Man, Game Pass Ultimate. Bet money. I bet you spring, summer, I'm going to be playing Terminator Resistance.
I was going to say, it's not going to release on Game Pass Ultimate because I think Microsoft's probably going to try to keep more high-profile things that people are hyped about coming out like day one.
So you're saying it's going to be trash and Xbox don't want
I mean,
it?
I can't say it's going to be trash. I can say it looks like it's going to be trash, and I'm guessing that Microsoft probably would notice that. So they might be like later on as games with gold, here's a free copy, but it's not going to be. I doubt they're going to be like, oh guys, one of our newest games coming to games like to Game Pass is going to be Terminator, and then they show that footage. It's like, no, they're not going to do that.
You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised.
So okay, actually, I want to make an edit. The developer is Teon, and the publisher is Reef Entertainment. Now, so this is what we would define as Eurojank.
Oh yeah, I remember you mentioning that before.
I remember we had a discussion about
discussion.
Yes, I remember because I didn't know what it was. Yeah, it could be.
Okay, now I got a good idea what it is.
Yeah.
Right. So let's end everything here. Let's all end it with what everybody's going to be doing for the rest of the week and where we can find you. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. I'm just gonna stop making promises.
Yeah,
and I'm just gonna say like, if y'all want to check me out, just follow me at twitch.tv/unsheathp unsheathedp, and you'll know when I go live. I'm not gonna promise I'm gonna go live at any point. So that's about it. What about you guys?
I'll be playing more of the Call of Duty campaign this week and Death Stranding on the weekends. You can check me out at lady_infamous415 on Twitch. And thank you guys for stopping by. Appreciate it.
I'll be playing more Dead Space 2 this week until Death Stranding comes out. And then that's what I'll be playing. You can find me at twitch.tv/Zeldrick and on Twitter @Zeldrick.
And I am Jay Sharpie. You can find, and I'll be finishing up Valkyria Chronicles 4. And if I happen to do so before Death Stranding comes out, I think I might find.
So we all gonna play
short.
Death Stranding on Friday?
I was gonna say, well, I think the whole world's gonna be playing it on Friday, basically.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the whole world's gonna be playing it.
It's gonna be 1 million people with one person watching them each.
But well, maybe this next podcast we'll have a Death Stranding.
I mean,
I was gonna say, yeah, that's
I mean, you'll be surprised on how cooperative that game is going to be, like indirectly. Indirectly cooperative. Not like you're going to be playing with each other, but you're going to be some sort of interaction.
Like, talking to each other about it and stuff.
You know, Dark Souls, kind of like that.
Do they have that?
Well,
really?
like, you know, it's like, you know, like you just leave messages everywhere and stuff like that.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
But anyways, that is it for...
Actually, real quick, dude, you didn't say your channel name.
Oh, I said that in the beginning. Oh, well, okay, fine.
I think we just interrupted.
It's twitch.tv/JSharpie. But anyways, that is it for this week. We will see you guys next week.